treachery! Thy name is fake homeless people! That's how the saying goes, right? Anyway, there is a special pit in the depths of the internet's long memory that belongs especially to fake homeless people. It's right there along with YouTubers who fake their abduction. Oops, I'm not supposed to talk about that. Today, we're going on a little journey down one of the shadiest parts of humankind. We're talking about 10 of the fakest homeless people who got exposed. Want more of the best action on the internet? Be sure to subscribe and get more exciting content just like this. Steven Crozier. Fun fact, if you lived in a nice house and pocket more than 2,000 euros a month in benefits, you shouldn't be begging on the streets. Well, just because it is morally wrong to beg for money, even though you make a fair amount per month, doesn't stop too many people. Just ask my bank. Take Steven Crozier, for example. A recent report in Middleborough, UK, proved that most beggars actually have homes. They are also entitled to state benefits. This means that most of the beggars in the city don't specifically need to be out there begging. They just do it to generate an additional income to spend on heroin. Charming. From now on, I'll be referring to them as phobos, just to spice things up. The UK then cracked down on begging, slapping unnecessary beggars with ASBOs, which is basically what happens when the British government decides that you're a pest and limits your activity with the general public. Anyway, one of these phobos, Steven Crozier, has reportedly flouted these anti-phobo laws more than 30 times, allegedly because his benefits paid out too early and he ran out of money. Okay, because that's how life works. It is such a sad situation because there are actual homeless people who are suffering from untreated mental illnesses and a variety of problems, but will now be regarded with undeserved suspicions thanks to leeches like Crozier. Kentucky homeless. So what do you use your degree for? I use mine as a coaster. You know, the actual diploma they send you after you've graduated. Interesting nugget of knowledge about me. You probably have yours framed somewhere. Guess what Gary Thompson does with this? He uses his degree in speech pathology to trick sympathetic people into thinking he has a mental illness, while chilling in a wheelchair. Not cool, Gary. Not cool. So these poor people are suckered into thinking they're helping out, when actually they're funding a professional panhandler. The saddest part is that he actually has a bit of disability. He lost some of his mobility in a car crash, won a settlement from Honda to the tune of about $2.5 million, but ended up blowing it all. I feel bad for him and all, but he has a degree in speech pathology. If he wanted to, he could become a motivational speaker or help others who also went through trauma. But no, he decided he wants to rip people off for a living. He's been arrested multiple times for his con, but has yet to show any signs of remorse. His usual haunts are now familiar with him, and he had even been on the news a few times. I suppose it is only a matter of time before he gets his own reality show. The Real Phobos of Texas. It's actually quite depressing that I'd probably watch that show. Don't lie, you would too. False veteran. You know who are real-life heroes? War veterans. They risk their lives for a nobler purpose, and they fight for what they believe in. They have sacrificed a lot in life, and they deserve recognition. You know who aren't real-life heroes? Phobos. Can we just take a second to appreciate that glorious rhyme? Okay, moment's over. Moving on. Last summer, panhandling was declared a constitutional right. Okay, fair enough. But then the rise in phobos reached ridiculous proportions. One example of such an opportunistic person decided to make his pitch a little more enticing. The civilian, who is only known as Rudy, posed as a war veteran asking for help. When outed as a liar by local news anchor and her crew, Rudy claimed that you have to make money for beer somehow. Apparently, it is better than robbing people. You're basically robbing them now, Rudy. One of the producers was so disgusted by what he heard that he made a sign of his own. The man painted the word liar in big red letters and took his stand next to Rudy. Rudy bolted and tried to get the police on his side, but apparently cops don't take lightly to fake war veterans either. Rudy then realized that retreat was his only option and pedaled away on a better mountain bike than mine. Fair enough, I don't even have a mountain bike, but I still think that I've made my point. I'm not lying, but I would have thoroughly enjoyed this spectacle. Who wants to fund my pilot episode of the Real Phobos of the world? Begging clubs. I like clubs. Okay, not the dancing, drinking, and party clubs. The book club kind of clubs. And it is a chance for us to connect with like-minded people and discuss the things that are most important to us. You can join almost any sort of club these days. A book club, a cooking club, a begging club. Oh right, I forgot to mention. There are literal organized begging clubs now. I suppose I should call them begging rings, but I don't want to line these small-time fraudsters to the serious problem of human trafficking begging rings, which are a real thing. No, these are clubs of unscrupulous people who make turns conning people out of money. Recently, authorities in New York have been trying to help the homeless. That's noble. But then they found something rather disturbing. A group of women would swap babies, then take turns panhandling in different parts of the city. They would also refuse the governmental help. Look, the only reason you refuse something free is because you have something better going on. In this case, they sit around and use children to garner sympathy. I am not okay with this kind of club. This is not an acceptable thing to do. That is also not why you should have kids. I'm not sure why you should have kids, but I'm pretty sure that is not the reason. Misha Dominguez. You do not want to get on the internet's bad side. Things will get ugly and you will not recover anytime soon. Just ask Misha Dominguez. Some men approached her and questioned her about her homeless status while videotaping her. Things got heated when the men became suspicious. She then tried to retreat in her very expensive-looking parked car. When confronted, she said she never claimed to be homeless, but rather that she was disabled. The men were not impressed and the video was posted. It went viral in a matter of minutes. A few days later, she was arrested for throwing Gatorade bottles at moving cars. Look, that might not seem like a serious offense until that bottle flies through an open window and hurts someone, or someone swerves to avoid the bottle and causes an accident. The public was not impressed. And did you know that throwing objects at moving vehicles is a felony? Well, it is, and Misha was convicted of doing just that. This is a cautionary tale of what can happen when you decide to rip off a global community. If you get caught on tape and that tape gets posted, the world will take it personally. Oh, and if you choose to become a public menace by throwing things at innocent people, you're going to get arrested. That cannot be good for your panhandling business. Not so homeless man. This one might have to be taken with a pinch of salt, since it was filmed by notorious YouTube prankster Jack Vale. The video shows an apparently unashamed panhandling hustler, or Phobo, begging for money. Vale and crew then followed said Phobo, who gets into a very nice car and drives off to an equally nice house to confront the not-so-homeless man. The Phobo was upset. Apparently only he is allowed to harass people, and use some choice language when addressing the YouTuber. Now, this might be fake and extremely entertaining, but it is a reality. There are hustlers out there who think that a hard day's work is asking people to part with their money. Panhandling can be a lucrative career. If done for the wrong motives, an unscrupulous bottom feeder could con people out of a lot of money. Jack Vale might have been pranking us, but he was inadvertently shedding the light on a very real and ever-growing problem. Fifth Avenue beggar. When you think about Fifth Avenue, what do you see? Well, most of us see rich people walking into shops that we can only walk past because our credit cards won't let us in. You probably don't get the very glamorous image of beggars, do you? But if you think about it, it is the ideal place to beg for money, which is exactly what this next woman thought. For more than 4 years, Paula Headley has been working the lucrative thoroughfare. She'll put on her work clothes and a sad, pathetic-looking blanket, and then head home after a full day's work in a chic jogging suit. Her work included begging for money in a pitiful voice, donning a tear-streaked face and coming up with a heart-wrenching story. And it worked well, until a news crew followed her around to learn the truth. And what a fascinating story it is. Apparently, her hunched-over shuffle walk is no act, but she can walk just fine. And her blanket, besides earning her more sympathy points, is what she actually sleeps in her nice apartment on 123rd Street, where she rooms with a friend. Street workers claim that she can make up to $200 a day. When she was being monitored, she made $18 in 20 minutes. Now, you can view her as one construction worker does. He says he feels sorry for her and that she goes through a lot of trouble to earn her money. But one street worker disagrees. He says that she earns more than he does by playing on people's emotions. Which view do you share? Let us know in the comments section below. Pregnant beggar. Pregnancy is all about the miracle of life. When women are pregnant, they are entering one of life's most special phases. Women will now start worrying about someone else and will start adjusting their life to accommodate their unborn child. Well, the good mothers do. Some people are purely selfish and will even use their unborn child to their advantage. One such woman, who will remain nameless because I'm the bigger person like that, was seen begging on the streets with a young boy. The sympathy card? She was pregnant. Shortly thereafter, however, she was seen getting into a very expensive-looking Mercedes-Benz driven by a man who she seemed very comfortable with. The car's number plate was then traced to a very expensive rented apartment. A San Diego news team decided to track down the Phobo mom and confronted her and her Mercedes-wielding boyfriend. The pair denied that they were panhandling, and then denied that they owned a Mercedes, and the cycle continues. It seems that the best way to get out of trouble is just to deny your involvement even in the face of solid evidence. I wonder if I could use that the next time I'm in trouble. One might argue that she is acting in the best interests of her child, but in the face of the evidence provided, it seems that they make a lot more than they need by begging. This means that she could have looked for another job by now, but being given money just for standing around seems to be a more lucrative career. Simon Wright. Simon Wright seems to have a very strong work ethic. He leaves his work every morning at 9 a.m. sharp, works for 8 hours, and sometimes even works weekends and holidays as well, all willingly. And why shouldn't he? He can make up to 300 euros a day and lives in a lovely housing association flat. Too bad that he doesn't actually work for his money. You see, Simon's work clothes include his rattiest outfit, a board proclaiming that he is both hungry and homeless, and an obligatory faithful dog. Simon Wright is a professional panhandler, one of the best in fact. His patrons shell out their hard-earned cash out of concern for his welfare, and he goes and changes coins for notes at a local bakery. He then goes home with a pocket full of unearned tax-free cash. In fact, he goes home to a flat that might be a bit better than those that his patrons go home to. It is estimated that he makes about 50,000 euros a year. Fun fact, he also doesn't like it when you don't give him money. This lovely individual who contributes so much to society will either hurl a volley of abuse at you or set his not-so-poor dog on you. Grandma needs food. My dear old granny once told me that if I have nothing to say, then I should rather say nothing at all. Then she read about this woman. Good news! The ban has been lifted. Let's get down to business. One day, a man went up to fill up his car. It was an ordinary day and he was just going about his business, until an elderly lady in a brand new 2013 red Fiat pulled up to also fill her car. The man loses his mind and starts raging at her. In this day and age, instead of finding out what is going on, someone starts filming it. It turns out that the man is Daniel Ayala, a man who frequently gives a 78-year-old widow who begs on the street corner near his work some of his money. The old lady, the aforementioned 78-year-old widow who claims to have no food. In the video, she insists that it isn't her car, and that her son is about to pick her up. Quick question, even if it isn't her car, why would a son who drives a brand new car allow his mother to beg on the streets? Sympathy quickly shifted from the little old lady to Ayala, who went without lunch one day just to give her money for food. Ouch. He then turns in disbelief and points out that she drives a better car than he does. Wow, it seems like being a lying fraud does have an age limit. The woman who took the video seems to be another victim of this not-so-sweet grandma, and posted the video explaining the situation. The sad part of the story is how many responded with their own tales of treachery. Fraudulent beggars are a big problem, and it seems that it is only getting worse. Soon, we probably will have a reality show called Real Phobos of the World. That is not a world I want to live in. And that's our list. Tell us what you thought and let us know if you have ever been tricked by a phobo. Don't forget to leave a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel.